स्पोर्ट्स से जुड़ी किसी भी अपडेट के लिए स्पोर्ट्स तक को सब्सक्राइब करें और हमारे फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम पेज को भी जरूर फॉलो करें।
How do you review this season so far?
Well, I think the start was a little wobbly. The first game, we played good cricket, but probably didn't have that clinical instinct to finish it off. And the second game was much better against KKR, and then third game again, we showed inconsistency in certain departments, but it was a great game where we from nowhere came back into the game and pushed it to a super over. But ever since then, we've been very consistent, trying to improve on all departments and playing some consistent cricket. So you can't complain after 7 matches to be 12 points and having 2 losses, and then one of those losses being a super over. So I think overall as a coach I'm very happy, but there are definitely areas where we can improve and keep improving, because tournament always going to get tougher and tougher at the back end.
Right. So this is something which Mumbai Indians never start off with such a good campaign. Is it some kind of you are as a coach you are at ease, and what was the specific aspect you guys looked at to get the campaign off such a way?
Well, as a coach you're never going to be at ease in a tournament like this, but I think yes, something that we were conscious about the start of the tournament, where we're always slightly slower, and then you get into your stride and claw your way into the tournament. So something we spoke, we knew the guys were in good form, guys had prepared well, but it's all about getting into that awareness, intelligence, handling situations out there in the middle, trying to get them to understand the conditions quickly enough and adapt. So I think that's where came back strongly after that first few games, where we learned a lot very quickly how to play in Abu Dhabi, which is going to be our main venue, having to play 8 games there, and Dubai, and we had 1 game so far in Sharjah, which we played really well. So that has been the key. Players understanding how we need to adapt, change, their role identification as well, whether they're batters, bowlers, what are the situations that they are going to be in, and winning those little battles out there in the middle with the opposition players. So I think so far I'm very happy the way the guys have responded to that.
Okay. So Mumbai Indians has got the momentum and we are riding it well. Could this be also a concern of losing the momentum considering the breaks we had?
Well, it all depends how you look at it. I think when you're playing in these conditions, especially the first half of the tournament, the temperatures were very high and the humidity level. So having a few breaks in the middle always helps. So I felt that was a good option for us to regroup, get the guys fresh and going. Yes, you can say that you might lose a little bit of momentum, but after a 4-day break we came back and won a game as well. So I think the players understand and they're responding well to the challenges that we put across to them, mentally and physically. So having the breaks is always good, but sometimes it can be an issue when you're having a good run, that it stops that momentum. But I think that's something that we will talk about and make sure that the focus is there, and that we approach each and every game with the same mindset. The next 3-4 games is going to be very crucial in this competition, and we're looking forward to that.
Right, I guess that's where the leadership team comes in, and this question is from Radio 1. You, Shane Bond, Zach, Rohit, you guys have created a wonderful leadership team at Mumbai Indians. So if you can take us through this think tank and what works for you guys, what is the individual strength you guys bring in planning and execution?
I think it's not just the start of the tournament. I think this goes back to when we go into an auction and getting players, the sort of people that we need to set up a skeleton in the team and responsibilities that goes along with that. So all those things are been spoken about, been planned about. So not just the 4 names that you mentioned, but there are so many other people who are involved in that. The franchise owners, everyone has to be on the same page when we are setting it up. So once that is done, I think what we at the management level do is to try and enforce those leadership roles among the group and getting them to take responsibility for those roles, and that's something that we each and every day keep reminding the boys and try and make sure that they adhere to that. But I think over the years, because we kept the same core group of senior players and who understands their roles in the team, it's been very easy for us to, from season to season, to make sure that we evolve and we improve on that. It's just the new players who we add into that skeleton is the ones who we need to keep an eye on and make sure that they understand what we are trying to do. So it's a great challenge to have, and something that we've realized that once you create a culture within a group, it's quite easy for everyone to come in and adapt to that.
Right. Now, a lot of players are waiting at the wings. There's Chris, Nathan, Saurav, many of them, and it's often been asked to you that it's probably a good headache to have. But as a coach, how difficult it is to keep them motivated?
Well, that is something that, like I said earlier, like we're creating that culture within the group. Everyone understands that, okay, there are players who's going to go out onto the middle, but the other guys are as important as anyone else in that group, because they are the ones who actually keep the guys on the field on their toes, because these are very, very good players who we got on our bench. At any given time, they're ready to go out and perform. So it makes a healthy rivalry within the group. It's a good, healthy competition, and we just monitor everyone's attitude, everyone's focus, whether they're actually prepared for each and every game. So depending on that, that's where we might make certain changes, whether we feel that they're not physically capable or whether they're not mentally fresh, then we will make those rotations. We'll make sure that we manage those workloads. So that is one of the reasons that we've got a lot of good players on the bench ready to go at any given time. So it's, like I earlier said, it's a great headache to have, but at the same time, it's good, healthy competition within the group as well, which we have created. And I think what we try and do is to keep them fresh, prepared, not push them too much or not let them relax too much. It's a 2-month tournament. It's not a big ask for these professionals, and it's just to make sure that they're top of the game, and it's also communication between the management and the players as well, trying to figure out any issues and all that, and resolve it before it can get festered and be a problem for the group.
Yeah. Mumbai Indians wants to ask you about the pitches. Basically now, as we see, is slowing down and spinners are expected to get a bigger role. So could there be a rethinking on your part for playing 3 specialist pacers going forward?
Well, it's something that we need to see how it will evolve. Last year as well, we made that adjustment at the back end of the tournament when we played in certain pitches that were suited for spinners. I cannot say that right now, because I think still the fast bowlers have a bigger role to play in this competition, and whether given it's power play, mid overs or at the back end. So trying to keep that balance, as long as they are making contributions, that they're penetrating the opposition batting lineup. It doesn't matter what kind of surfaces that we play on, because the quality of the fast bowling that we have, they're always going to create opportunities. And we got a couple of very good spinners who's operating right now within the playing 11, and there are a couple of guys who are in the wings who we might look at given certain opposition, certain matchups, and if the condition suits, yes, we will look into that. But right now I'm quite happy with the combination that we have, seeing the way they've operated.
What's your review of James Pattinson? I mean, coming in place of Malinga, and how did the management brought him into the Mumbai Indians scheme of things?
Well, I think, have to be honest, there were quite a few names that we've discussed, but Rohit was the one who actually put his hand up and said, Pato will be someone who will definitely add value to the attack. What he brings, which is pace, accuracy, bowls a hard ball, and has that wicket taking ability, which we always look at. I mean, rather than, I know he was replacing Mali. Mali's a death bowl specialist, but the requirement for us was, it was always going to be tough to replace a like-to-like match for Lassit. So how do we compensate that is by, try and get someone who's going to, create opportunities for us up front and the middle by picking up wickets. So that's where Jimmy's name came up, and Rowe was the one, because I think, end of the day, captain is the one who has to take those guys out to the middle, and as long as he's got confidence in each and every guy that he's got in the squad, that is very important for us. So that was the path we took, and Jimmy hasn't let us down. I think from the day he arrived, the way he trained, way he understood the role that he wanted, that the role that we wanted him to do in the team, he adapted really, really well, and formed a really good partnership with Bolty and Boom, and these three guys have been really, really good. So far it's been brilliant, and really happy to have him in the squad. He's a great guy, and really, really happy to be him having in the work of things.
Absolutely. However, if you were to pick up one area to work on in this squad, what would that be?
Well, I think something that I've always kept pushing is the energy levels out there in the middle. We've been very good, but that's an area that I always feel that, which is a controllable thing. I know the performances, bad ball and all that, it's skill dependent, and some days, some guys, will not be at that same level that they want to be, but they're trying. But energy levels, especially on the field, creating that environment, atmosphere, intimidation of presence out there in the middle is something that I'm always pushing to get better and better. Yes, they're good, but I'm not going to be satisfied. So each game, is that something that I'm definitely going to keep pushing for.